During the mating ceremony, I fell asleep on the Apache's strong shoulders. Shocking the entire tribe, the sun hung low over the hills, painting the sky in soft shades of orange and pink. A gentle wind whispered through the tall grass, carrying the scent of earth and wildflowers. The traveler had been walking for hours, her legs aching, her stomach empty, and her mind heavy with worry. She had lost her way sometime after noon, taking a wrong turn along the narrow forest path. Every step seemed to stretch endlessly, and the shadows of the trees grew long and dark. She had hoped to find a small village or a road, anything that could guide her forward. But the world around her felt empty and unfamiliar. Just as fatigue threatened to overwhelm her, she spotted a thin trail leading down toward a small clearing. Curious and desperate for rest, she followed it. Soon she saw signs of life, a few smoke trails rising into the sky, the faint sound of voices, and the rhythmic beating of drums. Her heart raced, not from fear, but from hope. She had found people. She did not yet know who they were, but the sounds of life and ceremony felt welcoming in a way that the empty forest never had. As she stepped closer, she noticed the figures moving in the clearing. They were dressed in traditional clothing, decorated with intricate patterns and beads that caught the last light of the sun. The traveler paused for a moment, unsure if she should approach. She had learned to respect people's spaces, especially those whose ways she did not fully understand. Yet a gentle figure, an older woman with a calm face and wise eyes, waved her forward. "Come," the woman said softly. Her voice was steady and kind. "You are welcome here." Relief flooded through the traveler, and she nodded, stepping into the clearing. Her feet were sore, and her body felt heavy with exhaustion. But the warmth of the people's presence was comforting. The older woman guided her to a safe spot near the circle where others were gathering. She explained that there was a special ceremony taking place, a gathering that brought the community together to celebrate life, growth, and the bonds between people. The traveler listened carefully, trying to understand the rhythm and meaning behind every movement. She noticed the way the people carried themselves, strong, confident, and deeply connected to the land. Their faces were calm, yet full of emotion, and their eyes held a quiet wisdom that came from generations of living in harmony with the world around them. She felt a mixture of awe and humility. It was clear that this was a community built on respect, trust, and shared experience. For a moment she forgot her own worries and simply watched, absorbing the details, the intricate patterns on the clothing, the way the firelight flickered across smiling faces, the way everyone moved in a way that seemed both deliberate and effortless. The older woman introduced her to a few members of the tribe. A young warrior with a strong build and gentle eyes offered a small nod in greeting. "You are safe here," he said. The traveler returned the nod, grateful for the reassurance. She could feel the energy of the tribe, a steady grounding force that seemed to settle the nervousness in her chest. She realized she could breathe more freely here, that the tension she had carried through the long journey was starting to ease. As the sun dipped lower, the ceremony began. Drums beat softly at first, then grew louder, filling the clearing with a rhythm that seemed to match the heartbeat of the earth itself. People sang in voices both high and low, their tones weaving together in a melody that was both ancient and alive. The traveler felt drawn in by the music, her body relaxing in time with the drums. She sat quietly, listening, observing, and trying to respect the sacredness of the moment. The warrior who had greeted her earlier was asked to sit beside her as a guide and protector. His presence was calm, steady, and reassuring. She had noticed his strength before, but now she could see the gentle care in his movements, the way he seemed to watch over not just her but the entire group. She felt safe in a way she had not felt for days, and she allowed herself to sink into that comfort. Hours passed as the ceremony continued. The traveler watched people perform dances that told stories of the land, the seasons, and the connections between family and community. The fire crackled and sparks rose into the night sky, creating a magical glow that seemed to make the world around her feel both larger and more intimate at the same time. She found herself becoming part of the rhythm, moving her hands slightly, tapping her feet softly, and feeling connected to something bigger than herself. Slowly, fatigue overcame her. The long journey, the tension, and the hours of standing and observing had drained her energy. She tried to stay alert, wanting to honor the ceremony and the trust the tribe had shown her, but her eyelids grew heavy. The steady, grounding presence of the warrior beside her made it easy to relax. Without realizing it, she leaned her head against his strong shoulder, seeking comfort and support. The warmth of his body, combined with the rhythmic sounds of drums and voices, lulled her into a deep, peaceful sleep. Around the circle, people noticed the traveler resting against the warrior. A quiet murmur spread through the group, not of anger or disapproval, but of surprise. Such a moment was unusual, yes, but it was also human. People exchanged glances, some smiling, some raising their eyebrows, but all watching with curiosity and interest. The warrior did not move. He remained calm, steady, and respectful, showing a deep understanding of the situation. It was clear he had no intention of disturbing her rest, and the tribe slowly recognized the trust and peace that this moment represented. In her sleep, the traveler dreamed of the journey she had taken, of the hills and forests, of the kindness of strangers, and the strength of new friendships. The firelight flickered across her closed eyes, and the rhythm of the drums carried her into a sense of safety she had not felt in a long time. The tribe continued their songs and dances around her, embracing the moment as it unfolded naturally, with patience and understanding. By the time she began to stir, the moon had risen high in the sky, casting a soft silver light across the clearing. She opened her eyes slowly, realizing where she was and what had happened. A wave of embarrassment washed over her, but it was quickly replaced by gratitude. The warrior's steady presence and the tribe's understanding had made her feel accepted, welcomed, and cared for. It was a lesson she would carry with her, the power of trust, respect, and the quiet strength of human connection. The elder smiled gently at her, understanding the emotion she was feeling. "Sometimes," the elder said softly, "the heart guides moments in ways we cannot control. What matters is how we respond with care and respect." The traveler nodded, absorbing the wisdom and realizing that this experience, strange and unexpected as it had been, was also deeply meaningful. She sat up fully, brushing herself off and offering a quiet nod of thanks to the warrior beside her. He returned the gesture with a small smile, a shared understanding passing between them. The traveler felt a sense of belonging, even if only temporary, and she knew that this night would remain with her for the rest of her life. As the fire crackled and the ceremony continued, she allowed herself to simply watch and listen, soaking in the sights, sounds, and stories around her. She had arrived as a stranger, weary and uncertain, but in this moment she felt connected, peaceful, and respected. It was the beginning of an experience that would change her perspective on trust, community, and the gentle strength of human bonds. As the first light of dawn filtered through the trees, the clearing began to stir with quiet activity. The traveler awoke slowly, stretching her stiff limbs and blinking against the soft morning sun. The fire from the night before had burned low, leaving only warm embers that glowed faintly. Around her, members of the tribe were moving with purpose, preparing for the day and tending to small tasks. The air smelled of fresh earth, dew, and the lingering scent of the fire. She sat up carefully, aware of the warrior beside her. He was already awake, his eyes calm and observing, though he made no sudden movements. When she met his gaze, he offered a small nod, a gesture that felt like reassurance. There was no judgment, no embarrassment, only quiet understanding. She felt her heart lighten, grateful for the patience and respect that he had shown her during the long hours of the ceremony. An elder approached, carrying a small woven basket filled with food. "Eat," the elder said gently, placing the basket in front of her. "You will need your strength today." The traveler looked at the food, fresh fruits, bread, and dried meat, and realized how hungry she was. She began to eat slowly, savoring each bite, noticing the care and thought that had gone into the preparation. Every flavor felt more vivid in the calm morning light, and with each mouthful she felt more grounded and alive. The warrior who had sat beside her last night now helped guide her through the clearing. introducing her to others in the tribe. They spoke with gentle tones, their voices warm and welcoming. The traveler realized that the tribe was not only strong and capable but also deeply connected to one another. Every movement, every interaction seemed to carry meaning. Children laughed and played nearby. Elders shared stories, and adults worked together to prepare for the coming day. The traveler felt a sense of harmony she had never experienced before, a balance that came from mutual respect and shared responsibility. As the sun rose higher, the tribe began to prepare for the main ceremony of the day. This was not a performance for outsiders. It was a ritual steeped in tradition, meant to honor the cycles of life, the bonds of family, and the strength of the community. The traveler was allowed to watch, though she remained quiet, careful not to intrude. Her place was near the fire, where she could observe the patterns of movement, the songs and the gestures without disturbing the flow of the ritual. The warrior stayed close, guiding her when necessary but giving her the space to absorb the experience. She noticed his hands, strong yet gentle, and the careful way he moved among the people, ensuring everything went smoothly. It was clear that his role in the tribe was important, not only for his strength but for his understanding of people and the traditions they upheld. Watching him, she began to grasp the depth of responsibility that came with such trust. As the ceremony began in earnest, drums echoed through the clearing, louder than the night before. The rhythm was steady, like a heartbeat, and it drew the traveler in. The tribe formed circles and lines, moving in patterns that told stories older than she could imagine. Some danced alone, their movements sharp and deliberate. Others moved in pairs, their steps synchronized as if guided by an invisible thread connecting them. The traveler's eyes followed each movement, trying to understand the story behind it, the message that had been passed down through generations. The songs rose in layers, voices blending in a harmony that was at once soothing and powerful. The traveler felt a shiver run down her spine, not from fear, but from awe. She realized that this was not merely entertainment, it was a living history, a way to keep the spirit of the tribe alive and strong. She felt honored to witness it, knowing that she was part of something sacred, even as an outsider. Hours passed, and the traveler grew more relaxed in the rhythm of the day. She could feel the pulse of the tribe around her, the energy of the people, and the quiet strength of the warrior beside her. It was both calming and invigorating. She began to understand the subtle lessons woven into every song, every gesture, every movement. This was not only a ceremony of celebration but a teaching of values, trust, respect, patience, and the importance of community. At one point, the rhythm of the drums slowed, and the tribe gathered closer to the center of the clearing. The traveler noticed a circle forming around a raised platform where the elders would speak and guide the ritual. The warrior gently encouraged her to move closer, ensuring she had a safe spot where she could witness the most important part of the ceremony. She felt a mixture of nervousness and excitement. Being this close meant she could see every detail, every subtle expression, but it also meant she had to be fully aware of her actions. As the elder began to speak, the traveler listened intently. The words were in a language she did not understand, but she could feel their meaning in the tone, the gestures, and the reverence of those around her. She watched the faces of the tribe members, noticing how each person responded, how they moved their hands, bowed their heads, or raised their arms. The messages were not only spoken, they were felt. She began to see that understanding did not always require words. Respect and attention could translate meaning in a way that language sometimes could not. The warrior remained by her side, his presence a steady anchor. Occasionally, he would adjust his posture slightly, ensuring she was safe and comfortable, but otherwise, he was fully absorbed in the ritual himself. The traveler felt a sense of admiration for him, not just for his strength, but for his patience, his awareness, and his ability to embody the values the tribe celebrated. Watching him gave her a deeper sense of trust, a feeling that she was in the right place, surrounded by people who would protect and guide her. As the morning moved toward midday, the traveler felt herself drawn into a sense of calm and drowsiness. She had been on her feet for hours, absorbing the energy of the tribe, the sounds, the sights, and the meaning of the ceremony. Her eyelids grew heavy, and she fought to stay alert, wanting to honor the trust the tribe had shown her. The warrior noticed her struggle and offered a subtle gesture of encouragement, a reminder that it was okay to rest, that she was safe in his care. Before she realized it, her body surrendered to the exhaustion. She leaned gently against the warrior's shoulder, finding comfort in the solid warmth and steady presence. Her breathing slowed, and her mind began to drift. For a moment, she felt completely at peace, the world around her softening into a gentle blur of movement, color, and sound. She drifted into sleep once more, this time during the heart of the ceremony. Around her, the tribe noticed what had happened. There were quiet murmurs of surprise, but no one expressed anger or frustration. Some smiles appeared on faces, others exchanged knowing glances. The elder standing nearby observed with calm eyes, understanding the humanity of the moment. The warrior continued to hold his position, not moving or disturbing her, showing a quiet respect that spoke volumes. The traveler's trust and vulnerability had created an unexpected but meaningful pause in the rhythm of the day. Even in sleep, the traveler seemed to become part of the ceremony, her presence woven into the ongoing rituals. The tribe did not rush, did not interfere. They allowed the moment to unfold naturally, recognizing it as a reflection of trust, patience, and human connection. The air was filled with the sound of drums and song, carrying her gently through the hours. When she finally stirred, the sun was high in the sky. She blinked and realized where she was, feeling a mix of embarrassment and gratitude. The warrior's steady gaze met hers, and she understood that there had been no judgment, only understanding. The elder smiled warmly, acknowledging her presence and the trust she had shown by allowing herself to rest. As she sat up fully, brushing herself off and adjusting her clothing, she felt a wave of respect for the tribe and the lessons she had learned. The day had already been filled with meaning, teaching her about patience, trust, and the quiet strength of human bonds. The warrior offered a small nod, a shared understanding passing between them. She felt a sense of belonging, even in this temporary moment, and she knew that these experiences would stay with her for a long time. The traveler joined the tribe in the final part of the morning ceremony, moving gently, observing, and participating where appropriate. She learned the songs, mimicked some of the gestures, and felt the rhythm of the drums within her own heartbeat. Every movement, every note, every glance carried a lesson. She felt connected not just to the people, but to the land, the fire, the sky, and the rhythm that tied everything together. By the time the ceremony concluded, the traveler had a deep sense of gratitude and respect. She had arrived weary and uncertain, but she was leaving the morning hours enriched, grounded, and filled with an understanding of the power of community, respect, and trust. The warrior guided her to a quiet spot to rest and eat, ensuring she was cared for before the next part of the day. The traveler realized that this day was more than just a ceremony. It was a journey into understanding, a lesson in humility and connection, and a demonstration of human compassion that transcended language and culture. The morning had passed in a mixture of awe, peace, and discovery. She knew that the story she would carry from this day was not just about being an outsider, but about being welcomed, respected, and included in a way that felt both rare and precious. The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the clearing, turning the earth golden and warm. The traveler had been awake for a while, sipping water and eating a small meal provided by the warrior and the elders. She felt a sense of calm that she had not known since beginning her journey, a quiet grounding that came from being among people who understood the value of patience and trust. Yet deep within, a sense of nervous anticipation stirred. She knew that the next part of the ceremony was the most important, and she felt both honored and anxious to witness it. The tribe began to gather once again around the fire. Children ran ahead laughing and shouting, while adults took their places, forming precise circles and lines that signaled the beginning of a new ritual phase. The drums started slowly at first, a steady, hypnotic rhythm that seemed to resonate through the soil beneath her feet. The traveler could feel it in her chest, a steady thump that aligned with her own heartbeat. She had been captivated by the tribe's ceremonies before, but something about this afternoon felt different, more solemn, more profound. The warrior who had been beside her the night before returned to his place near her, guiding her subtly with small gestures to ensure she had a good view without obstructing the ritual. She noticed the strength in his posture, the careful control of every movement, and the deep calm in his eyes. It was clear that his presence was not only protective, but also symbolic, a reminder that the ceremony was sacred and should be honored. The traveler nodded to him, feeling reassured. As the ceremony progressed, dancers began to move around the circle, their steps echoing the rhythms of the drums. Their movements told stories of seasons changing, of families growing, and of the bonds between the people and the land. The traveler watched in awe, captivated by the combination of grace, power, and tradition in every step. Every face in the circle told a story, every gesture carried meaning, and every glance shared connection. She felt as if she were witnessing not just a performance, but the heartbeat of a community passed down through generations. The warrior beside her remained steady, observing the ceremony as intently as the traveler. Occasionally, he would adjust his stance or lean slightly, allowing her to see more clearly. She felt a deep sense of gratitude toward him, not only for his guidance but for his calm assurance. His presence allowed her to fully immerse herself in the ceremony without fear or hesitation. She began to feel part of the rhythm of the group, her breathing and posture subtly aligning with the music and movement. Hours seemed to stretch, though she knew only minutes had passed. The combination of warm sunlight, rhythmic drumming, and continuous movement lulled her into a state of serene focus. She felt her muscles relax and her mind quiet. For a moment, the worries of her journey, the hunger, the fatigue, the uncertainty, seemed far away. She could simply observe, breathe, and be present in a space where human connection and tradition were honored above all. Suddenly, the rhythm shifted. The drums slowed, and the dancers paused. The tribe formed a tight circle in the center of the clearing, and the elders stepped forward, carrying objects of significance, feathers, stones, and small bundles of herbs. The traveler's eyes widened as she realized the importance of the moment.
This was the central part of the ceremony, a time when the tribe honored relationships, connections, and commitments that bound their community together.
She felt a mix of excitement and nervousness, wanting to honor the space and remain fully present. But her body had other plans. The long hours of walking, the exertion from her journey, and the mental energy required to follow the complex ceremony all converged. Her eyelids grew heavy, her head felt heavy, and the warmth of the sun against her skin pulled her toward rest. She tried to focus, to remain upright and alert, but the drowsiness crept in relentlessly. The warrior noticed immediately, his eyes softening with understanding. He did not speak, nor did he make a sudden movement. Instead, he shifted slightly, offering a steady shoulder to support her. Without realizing it, she leaned against him, seeking comfort in his strength and calm presence. Her head settled lightly on his shoulder, and before she could even register it, her mind surrendered to sleep. The tribe continued the ceremony around her, their voices, songs, and drumming forming a gentle cocoon of sound that carried her into a deep, peaceful slumber. A hush spread among those nearby as they noticed the traveler resting on the warrior's shoulder. It was unusual, yes, but not inappropriate. The elder standing closest watched quietly, recognizing the innocence and exhaustion in the moment. A few tribe members whispered softly to each other, exchanging glances of surprise and curiosity. Some smiled, recognizing the human vulnerability in such a public and sacred space. Others simply observed in silence, waiting to see how the warrior would respond. The warrior remained motionless, his posture unwavering. He did not pull her away, nor did he react with irritation or discomfort. His stillness spoke volumes. It was a display of respect, patience, and trust. In that quiet gesture, the tribe saw the strength of their traditions and values. This was not merely about physical endurance or adherence to rules. It was about understanding, compassion, and the acceptance of human imperfection. Even in sleep, the traveler became a part of the ceremony. Her presence, though unplanned, carried a message. That trust and vulnerability could coexist with respect and honor. The rhythm of the drums, the melodies of the songs, and the careful movements of the dancers all continued around her, creating a living tapestry in which she now held a small, meaningful place. Time, seemed to slow. Sunlight shifted across the clearing, illuminating faces, garments, and objects in a shifting mosaic of color and motion. The traveler's breathing was steady, synchronized in some unspoken way with the rhythm of the ceremony itself. She dreamed of the journey she had taken, the path she had walked, and the kindness of strangers that had guided her to this moment. In her dream she moved alongside the dancers, her steps guided by the beats of the drums and the harmony of the voices around her. As the elders spoke softly in their native tongue, explaining the significance of the ritual, the traveler remained asleep, yet she felt an almost intuitive understanding of the importance. Even without comprehending the words, the tone, the gestures, and the surrounding energy conveyed meaning. She sensed that the ceremony was about connection, between people, between generations, and between humans in the natural world. She felt honored to be included, even in slumber. Minutes, or perhaps hours, passed. The traveler began to stir, her eyelids fluttering as consciousness slowly returned. She realized where she was, leaning against the warrior's strong shoulder in the midst of the tribe's central ceremony. A rush of embarrassment washed over her, her cheeks warming at the thought of being so vulnerable in front of so many people. Yet the warrior's calm expression and the gentle presence of the tribe around her offered reassurance. There was no judgment here, only patience, understanding, and quiet acceptance. The elder, noticing her awakening, smiled kindly and nodded. There was a silent communication, an acknowledgement that what had occurred was natural and human. The tribe did not scold or react harshly. They simply recognized the trust and vulnerability in the moment. The warrior's steady presence reinforced the lesson, the importance of patience, respect, and care. The traveler sat up fully, brushing herself off and offering a small appreciative nod to the warrior. He returned it with a gentle smile, and she felt a sense of gratitude that went beyond words. She had come as a weary outsider, unsure of her place, but in that unexpected moment of rest, she had been welcomed, respected, and included in a profound way. As the ceremony resumed, she observed with fresh awareness. Every gesture, every note of music, every step of the dancers seemed more meaningful now. She had witnessed not only tradition and ritual, but also the quiet strength of human connection, trust, and compassion. The afternoon had become a lesson in humility, respect, and the power of presence. The warrior guided her to a slightly different position, ensuring she could continue to watch without distraction. She felt honored to be allowed to stay, knowing that her previous nap had not disrupted the ceremony but had been absorbed naturally into the rhythm of the event. She realized that this moment would stay with her long after she left the clearing, a memory of trust, patience, and quiet human kindness. The songs and drumming continued, carrying her through the afternoon with a sense of peace and wonder. She listened, watched, and absorbed every detail, feeling a deep connection to the people and the land. The memory of her sleep on the warrior's shoulder became a gentle reminder of human vulnerability, of the importance of patience, and of the quiet strength of respect. By the end of the afternoon, the traveler understood that the ceremony was not only a public celebration but also a teaching, a demonstration of trust, connection, and understanding. She felt privileged to witness it, humbled by the generosity and patience of the warrior and the tribe. In that moment, she knew that her journey had taken her to a place of learning far beyond the physical path she had walked. As the sun began to lower in the sky, casting a golden glow across the clearing, the tribe slowly shifted from the central circle into smaller groups. The traveler had fully awakened from her unexpected nap on the warrior's strong shoulder, and although a wave of embarrassment had washed over her at first, she now felt a sense of peace. The gentle understanding of the warrior beside her, along with the patience of the elders, reassured her. She realized that the tribe saw her vulnerability not as weakness, but as a human moment to be respected and accepted. The elder who had been observing her with quiet eyes approached again. His face was kind, lined with years of experience, and his presence was calm and grounding. "Rest is a gift," he said softly. "Even in the midst of ceremony, the body speaks. We honor that. You have shown trust, and that trust is returned." The traveler listened carefully, feeling the weight and wisdom behind his words. She had learned that the tribe's understanding went far beyond appearances. Respect, patience, and human connection were woven into everything they did. Around them, the tribe began to clean and arrange the clearing. Some prepared food for the coming evening, while others gathered materials for crafts or firewood. Children played nearby, their laughter light and carefree, yet careful not to disturb the ceremony's aftermath. Adults moved with purpose, their actions deliberate and coordinated. The traveler observed quietly, absorbing every detail. She saw that each person's contribution, no matter how small, was essential to the balance and harmony of the community. The warrior remained close, his eyes occasionally meeting hers with quiet reassurance. He guided her gently through the activity without drawing attention to her or making her feel awkward. At one point, he handed her a small basket with herbs used in the ceremonial dances. "It is part of the tradition," he explained softly. "You may hold them, observe them, learn their meaning. It is part of understanding and being welcomed." She accepted the basket carefully, feeling honored by the gesture. Even though she was an outsider, the tribe included her in meaningful ways that made her feel safe, respected, and valued. The traveler noticed the subtle ways in which the tribe communicated without words. A glance, a nod, a tilt of the head, each carried meaning. She realized that understanding was not always verbal. Much of it came from attention, observation, and respect. The earlier moment, when she had fallen asleep on the warrior's shoulder, was now seen as a demonstration of trust rather than disruption. The community had incorporated her presence into the rhythm of their day, reinforcing the lesson that patience and compassion could transform unexpected moments into meaningful experiences. As the afternoon continued, the elder gathered the members once more for a quieter part of the ceremony. They formed a circle, sitting on the ground with legs crossed, eyes forward, and hands resting lightly on their knees. The traveler joined them, guided by the warrior, and felt a strange mixture of anticipation and humility. She sensed that this next part would carry deeper lessons, not just about ritual but about life, respect, and human connection. The elder spoke in their native language, his tone gentle and melodic. Although the traveler did not understand the words directly, she could feel the cadence, the rhythm, and the meaning behind them. Gestures accompanied the speech, hands rising to the sky, then pressing to the earth, fingers tracing patterns in the air. The community followed, mirroring each movement with precision and care. She tried to imitate them, allowing her body to respond to the rhythm of guidance and instruction. Each motion connected her to the earth, the tribe, and the spirit of the ceremony. At one point, the elder gestured toward the warrior and then toward the traveler. The tribe paused, looking toward them with curiosity and gentle smiles. She realized they were acknowledging her earlier nap, not with shame or judgment, but as part of the ceremony itself. The elder's gestures and the warm expressions of the tribe communicated that trust had been built. In a surprising and moving way, her vulnerability had become a shared moment, a bridge connecting her to the community. She felt both gratitude and humility, her heart swelling with respect for the people who had so naturally accepted her into their space. The warrior gently touched her arm, offering reassurance without words. He understood the delicate balance of respect, patience, and encouragement. She nodded slightly in return, feeling the quiet bond between them. He had remained steady throughout the ceremony, showing her that strength was not always about force, but about presence, calmness, and care. The traveler realized that she had learned more from him and the tribe in these hours than she could have imagined, lessons about humanity, trust, and shared experience. The elder continued the ritual, teaching the tribe, and now the traveler, about the importance of observation and presence. Every sound, every motion, every breath was part of the lesson. Even the smallest gestures were significant. The traveler began to notice details she had missed before. The subtle shift of weight as someone balanced during a dance, the quiet focus of a child observing an elder, the harmony created when every individual contributed without drawing attention to themselves. It was a living example of unity, patience, and the beauty of connection. The traveler felt a sense of awe as she observed these interactions. She thought back to her own journey, to the moments of isolation, uncertainty, and fatigue that had led her to this place. In contrast, the tribe's coordinated, thoughtful, and compassionate way of life seemed almost magical. She understood that being included, respected, and guided through trust was far more powerful than simple rules or instructions. The lessons were subtle, yet profound, teaching her how human connection could transform moments of vulnerability into experiences of growth. As the sun continued its descent, the tribe began to prepare for the final segment of the day's ceremony. Small fires were lit, smoke rising in delicate trails that carried scents of herbs and wood. The traveler assisted quietly, mimicking the movements of those around her, careful to show respect for the process. She realized that participation, even in small ways, deepened her understanding and allowed her to contribute without overstepping boundaries. The warrior stood beside her, watching, and occasionally guiding her hand or adjusting her posture. There was no rush, no criticism, only quiet support. The traveler felt a sense of safety and trust unlike anything she had experienced before. She realized that these moments of guidance, patience, and gentle attention were as much a part of the ceremony as the songs, dances, and rituals themselves. As the last light of the sun bathed the clearing in gold and orange, the tribe paused. The elder spoke again, this time more slowly, emphasizing the lessons of respect, trust, and human connection. The traveler listened, absorbing the meaning not only through observation but through experience. She now understood that her unexpected nap on the warrior's shoulder had become part of the teaching. It was a reminder that human vulnerability could be honored, not shamed, and that trust could be reciprocated through patience and care. The warrior offered her a soft smile, and she returned it with quiet gratitude. She felt connected, not just to him, but to the entire community. In these hours she had witnessed a profound example of human kindness, patience, and respect. Even a surprising, unexpected moment could be transformed into a lesson of trust and shared understanding. Finally, the elder concluded the segment, signaling the end of the main portion of the ceremony. The tribe began to disperse into smaller groups, some tending to fires, others preparing food or crafts. The traveler followed, still feeling a sense of awe and respect. She realized that this experience had changed her understanding of what it meant to be welcomed, accepted, and connected to a community. It was not simply about observing. It was about trust, respect, and participation in a living tradition. The warrior guided her to a quiet spot, offering water and a moment to rest before the evening rituals. She sat down, reflecting on the day's events. She had arrived weary, uncertain, and vulnerable, but she was leaving with a sense of connection, understanding, and profound respect for the people she had encountered. The lessons she had learned, the importance of patience, observation, and trust, would stay with her long after she returned to her own world. She looked around at the tribe, noticing the way they moved and interacted, their calm energy and quiet strength. She felt grateful for the warrior who had guided her, the elders who had taught her, and the community that had embraced her presence. Even her earlier embarrassment had transformed into a meaningful memory, a symbol of trust, patience, and human understanding. As the light faded, the traveler felt a sense of peace. She had witnessed a culture rich in tradition and wisdom, learned lessons she could carry into her own life, and formed a quiet bond with the warrior who had shown her the meaning of strength through care and presence. The day had been unexpected, enlightening, and deeply human, a story she would remember forever. As evening settled over the clearing, the sun dipped behind the distant hills, casting long shadows and bathing the land in soft golden light. The traveler sat quietly, absorbing the calm and steady rhythm of the tribe around her. After the long day of ceremony, music, dancing, and unexpected lessons, she felt a mixture of peace, gratitude, and reflection. The events of the day, especially her moment of vulnerability, had left a profound mark on her, teaching her lessons about trust, patience, and the quiet strength found in human connection. The warrior who had been her guide throughout the day remained nearby, his presence calm and reassuring. He watched the children play, the elders speak quietly among themselves, and the adults tend to the remaining rituals, all while maintaining a careful balance between duty and care. Occasionally he glanced at the traveler, offering a soft smile or a gentle nod. She returned the gestures with a quiet acknowledgement, her heart full of appreciation. The elder approached, carrying a small tray of food prepared for the evening. He placed it gently in front of her. "Eat," he said softly. "You have walked a long journey and participated in much today. This will give you strength for the evening and for the path ahead." The traveler nodded, grateful for the kindness. She ate slowly, savoring each bite, feeling nourished not only by the food but also by the sense of inclusion and respect that accompanied it. The tribe began to gather around the fire once more, this time in smaller, more intimate circles. The evening portion of the ceremony was quieter, more reflective. The drums beat gently, a slow and steady rhythm that carried through the clearing like a heartbeat. The songs were softer now, voices rising and falling in melodic patterns that seemed to wrap the traveler's soul in warmth. The traveler listened closely, feeling the emotions conveyed through the tones even without understanding every word. She realized that music and rhythm could communicate feelings more powerfully than language alone. The warrior guided her to a comfortable spot near the fire. He encouraged her to relax, to take in the evening without fear or hesitation. The traveler leaned slightly against him once more, not out of exhaustion this time, but for comfort and support. There was no embarrassment, no shame, only trust and shared understanding. She felt a deep sense of connection, not only with the warrior, but with the entire community. She was no longer merely an observer. She had become part of the experience, even if only in small ways. The elder began to speak again, this time more slowly, emphasizing the themes of trust, responsibility, and the bonds that hold a community together. The traveler watched as every member of the tribe responded with gestures, eye contact, and subtle movements, acknowledging and honoring the teachings. She could feel the significance of each action, understanding that even a small gesture held weight. Her earlier nap, a moment of vulnerability, had been incorporated naturally into the flow of the ceremony. It was no longer an interruption, but a demonstration of trust and acceptance. The traveler reflected on the day's events, thinking back to her long walk through the hills and forests, the uncertainty and fatigue, and the kindness of strangers that had led her to this place. She had arrived weary and cautious, unsure of what she would find, and yet she had been welcomed, guided, and respected in ways that exceeded her expectations. She realized that the lessons she had received extended beyond ritual and ceremony. They were about life itself, how to honor trust, how to respect others, and how vulnerability could be met with patience and care, rather than judgment. As the evening continued, the tribe shared stories of their ancestors, their words rich with history, wisdom, and cultural insight. The traveler listened intently, fascinated by the depth of knowledge and the way it was passed down from one generation to the next. She felt honored to be included in these teachings, understanding that she was witnessing not just history, but the living traditions that shaped the tribe's identity. Every story reinforced the values she had observed throughout the day: connection, respect, patience, and the power of shared human experience. The warrior occasionally spoke to her softly, offering explanations or context for certain rituals and gestures. She absorbed his words with care, appreciating the patience and clarity he showed. He did not rush her, nor did he speak in a way that demanded immediate understanding. Instead, he allowed her to learn at her own pace, providing gentle guidance that made her feel supported and respected. Through these moments, she gained a deeper understanding of the tribe's values and the significance of the ceremony she had witnessed. As darkness fell, the clearing was illuminated by the firelight, casting warm glows on the faces of the tribe. Shadows danced across the ground, creating a sense of movement and life even as the world quieted around them. The traveler felt a profound sense of gratitude, knowing that she had been given a rare opportunity to witness and participate in something so meaningful. She had learned lessons she could carry into her own life, lessons about patience, compassion, trust, and the quiet strength found in human connection. When the ceremony drew to a close, the warrior guided her toward a quiet area on the edge of the clearing. The elder nodded at her once more, a silent acknowledgement of the trust and understanding that had been built over the day. The traveler felt a deep sense of respect for the tribe and their traditions. She understood that this experience was more than a simple ceremony. It was a living lesson in humanity, kindness, and the bonds that connect people across cultures and generations. Before departing, the traveler approached the warrior. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice filled with sincerity, "for guiding me, for your patience, and for your understanding." The warrior smiled gently. "You were welcome here," he replied. "You trusted us, and that trust was honored. That is what matters most." The traveler felt warmth in her chest, a quiet recognition of the bond that had formed through shared experience and mutual respect. She looked around at the tribe one last time, noticing the subtle interactions and quiet moments that had made the day so meaningful. Children played nearby, elders spoke softly to one another, and adults continued their tasks with focus and care. The traveler realized that these small moments, the gestures, the glances, the movements, were as important as the larger ceremonial events. They were the living fabric of the community, demonstrating values and lessons in ways that words alone could never convey. As she prepared to leave, the elder approached with a small gift, a woven band of fabric adorned with simple, meaningful patterns. "Take this," he said. "It is a reminder of your time here, of the trust, patience, and connection you experienced. Carry it with you, and remember the lessons you have learned."
The traveler accepted the gift with gratitude, feeling its weight as a symbol of the day's profound significance.
She understood that this gift was not merely material. It represented the knowledge, trust, and bonds that had been shared with her. The traveler took a final glance at the warrior. Giving him a respectful nod, he returned it with a soft smile, acknowledging the connection that had formed. She turned toward the path that would lead her away from the clearing and back into the wider world, carrying with her the lessons, respect, and memories of the day. Each step felt lighter, yet more meaningful, as she reflected on the ways in which trust, patience, and care could transform human interactions. As the traveler walked away, she looked back one last time, seeing the tribe continuing their evening routines, the firelight flickering, and the gentle rhythm of life continuing as it always had. She felt a profound sense of appreciation for the opportunity she had been given, for the guidance of the warrior, the wisdom of the elders, and the acceptance of the community. The day had taught her that vulnerability could be met with kindness, that trust could be reciprocated, and that human connection was a powerful, transformative force. By the time she reached the forest trail that would take her back to her journey, the sun had fully set, and the sky was filled with stars. She paused for a moment, breathing deeply, and felt a sense of calm and fulfillment that she had never known before. She carried with her not only memories but also lessons she could apply to her own life. The value of patience, the importance of observing and learning, and the quiet strength found in understanding and supporting one another.
As she walked into the night, the traveler felt a sense of growth and transformation. She had arrived exhausted, uncertain, and vulnerable, but she was leaving enriched, empowered, and connected.
The memory of resting on the warrior's shoulder, a moment that had initially caused embarrassment, had become a symbol of trust, patience, and acceptance. It was a reminder that human connection could turn unexpected, fragile moments into experiences of profound meaning and understanding. The traveler continued on her path, carrying with her the wisdom, kindness, and lessons of the tribe. The day's events had changed her perspective, teaching her that respect, trust, and patience could create bonds that transcended culture, language, and circumstance. She knew that the story of this day, the ceremony, the people, the trust, and her own vulnerability, would stay with her forever, guiding her actions, thoughts, and heart in the days to come. With each step away from the clearing, the traveler felt the weight of her journey lighten. She had learned that moments of rest and vulnerability were not weaknesses but opportunities for connection and understanding. She had discovered that kindness, patience, and respect could transform even the most unexpected situations into lasting memories and meaningful lessons. And as the stars shone overhead, the traveler walked forward with gratitude, awareness, and a heart full of trust in the goodness of human connection.